Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of NRL Supercoach Off the Bench podcast. We're at round 10 TLT. I'm joined by Timmy. Welcome, Timmy.
Afternoon, Ross. It'll be another fun-filled TLT, I can imagine.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to go through. That's for sure. I don't know how much of it's relevant to Supercoach, but there is a bit there. So we'll rip into it. Just quickly before we get into it, I just want to do a shout out to our off the bench overall leaders for our group. In first is Ryan, coach of Maury, who's ranked 18th overall at the moment, followed by Savs from the Experience podcast in 22nd, and Amanda, coach of Manhip, sitting in 30th. We've also got about another 4 others in the top 100 and not a couple others not far out. So great job, guys. Really well done. And there's some leagues, some of the seeded leagues are going really well too. I think we've got one in the top 100 as well. So good effort. There were some monster scores out this week. I think the highest we had was close to a 1500, which is very impressive. So yeah, Timmy, let's rip into it, eh? Let's get into the games. So
Get stuck in. Throw them at me.
right, first game we've got is the Finns versus Manly at Suncorp on Thursday night. For the Finns, Herbie's back from his injury, replacing Tessie New. He's out injured. And then we've also got Kenny Bromwich comes back onto the bench and Kurt Donahue drops out. For Manly, Burbo's back. Ethan Bullymore drops back to the bench and Nathan Brown drops out. So he's back on his edge spot, Burbo. Lachlan Croker's out after failing his HIA. Carl Lawton will start. And Brad will be happy to know, Timmy, his old mate, Gordon Chan Kung Tong, is on the bench.
Good old Cantong. Made his mama's cooking and Cantong's back.
And it won't take long, remember?
It won't take long. How many minutes is he really going to get?
All right. Now, obviously, this is relevant, this game, for those who are looking to bring in options for the buys, particularly round 13. Obviously, as discussed, the Finns do play all 3 buys, but do have the buy in round 14. So, along with 2 other sides, the Roosters and the Raiders. So, don't want to go too heavy, but Timmy, I think the main one we need to speak about here is Isako. He's getting a bit out of reach at 750,000 with a negative break even of minus 27. Are you bringing him in this week?
Yeah, look, I'm not necessarily 100% sold. I really did want him, but after his score last weekend, want him even more. However, now the price sort of starts to blow out a little bit. You do have to weigh up that round 14. Most teams have got a packet full of Roosters and some Dolphins, and hopefully by now everyone's got rid of their Raiders. I've still got Smithies. He's probably on the chopping block sooner rather than later. Just his consistent 40s aren't the 60s plus that I was hoping they were going to be. So yeah, it's interesting. You probably don't want any more than 5, I guess, across those 3 teams. But we'd like to have a few when you think about it. So your real JMK, Isako, then a lot of teams have got Plath. So there's 3. And then you start thinking about Manu, Teddy, Angus. Yeah, look, it's going to add up really quickly. So I think at the moment I've got 5 between those 3 teams, and some of them will be on the outer sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I've got 2 Raiders, but they're both gone before round 13, which is Smithies. I'm happy with what he's done, what he's produced him, but not happy with just getting 40s and 50s. Savage will go out of my side as well, and then obviously I'll have Manu is a lock. We already said he's a lock for round 13. And Tyrrell May, I'm going to hang on to him for the buys. And then the Finns, at the moment I've only got Max Plath, but I am looking to add Isako to that this week. So I think I'm going to run with 5. I think with the Roosters too, because obviously everyone's going to have Angus, but I think Angus plays Origin. So I think we can just put him out of the equation. I'm pretty certain he's at least going to get a bench spot.
Yeah, so at the moment I've got JMK, I've got May up in front row, Gus in second row, and Smithies. So that's 4, and yeah, that's me. So I could probably bring in Isako. but yeah, it's touch and go. I think for that round 13, you want the guys with the high ceiling, not the meat and potatoes type guys. It could
Yeah.
be the difference between make and break, but you've just got to make sure you've got the coverage for round 14.
Yeah, well, as we said, we say and we say it over again, it's best 13, not just make a 13. You know, you don't want to be bringing these guys in and having to trade them out 2 rounds later because they're scoring absolute jack shit. So,
Yeah.
all right, anyone else, Timmy, from this game? Manly, if you held Burbo, I think you could be a play in this one against the Finns. They do leak some points.
And obviously a lot of players have got turbo. I don't, but yeah, it's Burbo's one that a lot of people got rid of a few weeks ago, myself included. I think I sold him 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago when I needed to move some other things around. So yeah, look, it's I don't think you'd really have anybody else. Maybe Olakau'atu, but then people would have sold him, and if he comes back in time, he's going to be gone again for Origin, you would think. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably about it.
I think Luke Brooks is a sell. I know Brad still has him, and I'm pretty sure he's moving him on this week. But, you know, I mean, a lot of people held him going, oh, he's got some good matchups. He's going to score well, and he hasn't. So he's definitely a sell. All
Oh,
right,
the only
Pants.
other one is
Yep.
obviously Ruben Garrick.
Oh, of
Ruben
course,
Garrick.
Ruben Garrick. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, every man and his dog traded him in last week if you didn't have him already. And he rewarded. He got the ton or thereabouts. So
Well, I wasn't the man. I
yeah,
wasn't the man or the dog, so because I didn't bring him in.
right. But what do you do instead?
Well, I got him. I bought in Plath, and I bought in. God. Oh yeah, I bought in front rower as well. I can't think. Josh
AFB or something?
Curran. No, I bought in Josh Curran and bought in David and Armstrong as well. So I did boost last week. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm not too upset about it, to be honest with you, Timmy. Really, I'm not. Like, you know,
One,
I
you
I,
got one boost left?
I got one boost left. Yes.
Hmm.
And as
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
said,
cool.
with it being best 13, I'm not too concerned about that, to be honest with you, Tim. I've already got enough
Yeah.
players for round 13 anyway, so I think I want to hang on to it for that round 14 in case I do need it, just in case. But yeah, look, I know there's a lot of people that burnt their boosts early, so see what happens. All right, next game, Panthers versus the Dogs. For the Panthers, Cleary's back. We'll see if he actually plays or not. So obviously, Brad Snyder drops out. Isaac Targo suspended for 1 week, so he's out. Monty comes into the centres. Liam Henry comes back onto the bench after missing last week. Matt Heisenhuth drops out. And for the Dogs, no changes. Connor Tracy's listed on the extended bench, so he may come into fullback. And obviously the other one was too last week. Sam Hughes started with Curran on the bench, so they may do that again. I don't know. Tim, I'm so glad Cleary's been named because he has been. Oh, mate, he's killing me at the moment, and a lot of others.
Yeah, look, I was really not to ever wish an injury on anybody, but I was really happy last week when he was pulled. It just gave me another opportunity to catch up a few points by not having Cleary. So look, I think now, to be honest, some people are still looking at grabbing him. I don't know whether it's worth it. This close to Origin it's a trade to bring him in, and then in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, trade him back out again. And then how fit is he really? Like if he came back, I'm sure if he was 100% fit last week, he would have played. Especially the way that Panthers sort of won. I wouldn't say by the skin of their teeth, but they certainly haven't been clicking quite
No,
like the Panthers of old of late. So Schneider's been doing a really good job. Don't get me wrong. And I think he's a very handy replacement. He's certainly an NRL player. But yeah, look to you. I can see why they wouldn't rush him back if he wasn't fit. You'd like to think,
no,
which
and
is obviously why he was
They
delayed
did
out
like.
last week.
I think you're. I think you'll find last week was just give him a rest. He's just come back after having 4 weeks off. You know, short turnaround too. You know, like
Mm.
they're going to look after their number one player, of course. Like, and
Yeah, absolutely.
if he pulls up and he's not right for this game, then I've got no doubt that Ivan will rest him. I don't think there'll be any hesitations on that. I wouldn't be
Mm.
trading in Cleary this week. I'm with you, Timmy. I think if you're looking to bring in a halfback this week, I really like Sam Walker. So plays two of the major three buys, quite cheap, and goal kicks.
Absolutely. There's certainly upside there. He proved a couple of weeks ago that he does have a decent ceiling if
Mm.
you want to bring him in. I'm not sure on his facts and figures straight off the top of my head, but does have a relatively low floor in comparison to some of the others. But
Yeah,
in that's in relation to Cleary, Hines, some of those guys. But yeah, look, it's you could certainly do a lot worse. That's for sure.
yeah. All right, second of the Friday night games. Timmy, your Broncos up against the Eels at Combank. So
Hold
for
on,
the
just go back a step.
yes,
Sorry, Roscoe. Too late for Kiraz and or Cherry. What are your thoughts? As in
Cherry,
trade-ins?
Cherry. Oh, Bronson
Bronson Cherry.
Cherry. Oh, I think so. Maybe Carraz. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of hype on Carraz, but I'm yet to see it. If it makes
Mm.
sense. Like he's cheap. Don't get me wrong, but I just think I would rather pay the extra and find the cash to go to either Osako or to Garrick instead. You know,
Yeah.
you got the goal kicking. It's just all there. I mean, I didn't watch the game against the Tigers last week, so I don't know how he went, but I know he didn't score very well. Um, yeah, a lot of people are saying they prefer him on the wing instead of the centres, but I think for a player like him, if he wants to get more ball and be more involved, I'd rather have him in the centres than on the wing. So,
Yeah, it's a bit of a hard one, isn't it? You want him in the centres to get the ball
mm.
sooner,
But then you
rather
want him on
than
the wing
and
but then you want
obviously,
him on the wing for the cutout as well. So I don't know,
yeah.
like, yeah,
Well, not only that, it's the kick return meters too, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
So anyway, moving on.
Bronson Sherry. No, I don't think so now. All right. So Timmy, as I said, Eels versus the Broncos Friday night, 8 p.m. at Combank. I'm expecting the Eels to bounce back a bit after they've had an absolute disastrous start to the season. Very happy, Timmy. Blaze Talangi's been named at fullback. I've held on to him. I know a lot of people sold him to bring in other players like cheapies before. The other changes for Parramatta is Sean Russell comes into the centres. They get rid of the spastic Morgan Harper. I shouldn't say that. Apologies. Out of the team. And Bryce Cartwright returns from rib injury on the bench, and Brendan Hands drops out. So that's good for Latic owners as well. Obviously, Adam Reynolds is out for a few weeks or a few months or wherever he is. Um, Josh Rogers comes into the halves. And then Jesse Arthur's obviously out with his broken jaw, replaced by Corey Oates on the wing, and former Cowboy Jack Jet. I'm just going to say Jet Ski because it's just easier. Comes onto the bench for Fletcher Baker. Timmy, Josh Rogers. I've seen a bit of him. He's a good young player. Well, I shouldn't say young, because he's 27 years old, so he's not really young. It's probably only 1 week play. I think Jock Madden's pretty sure he's due back next week.
Yeah, as far as I know, mate, he's due back in a week. To be honest, I don't know a lot about Josh Rogers, even though I've been a Broncos member and big fan that I am. But yeah, that one's caught me by surprise. I really thought they were going to bring the young fella Black in and give him a crack. But yeah, Josh Rogers is a bit of a curveball. So unfortunately, I can't give you any inside information because I've got no idea.
Well, I've been reading some info up on him the other day, and he's been tearing it up in Q Cup. So good on him for getting the
He's
opportunity
come.
27 years old to probably make his debut. I'm guessing. Oh, take second game of NRL. It says here. There you go. So only second
Mm,
game. But yeah,
yeah, it's
I thought the same as you. I thought Black would have come into the team, but anyway.
yeah.
Um, there's not really much here to talk about Supercoach relevant. I don't think anyone like Payne Haas dropping nicely. Obviously, might be a good pickup after Origin, Timmy.
Yeah, he's one to keep an eye on, and yeah, you certainly wouldn't go there now. You'd wait until after Origin. Look, I held on to Brendan Piakura, and I know Brad did as well. It was really disappointing last week. His massive 27 points, 29 points, whatever it was that he got, really hurt. But even despite that, still got a decent. I got a decent score for the round. Look, I'm going to hold him at this stage. I think there's potential there, uh, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit
Because
hard
he's
with the
like,
changes in the team.
but he's on the left with Ezra Mam, isn't he? So it's not like
Yeah.
Reynolds out really should affect him too much.
No, and that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he gets the short ball off Mam and or at least then a pass out to the boys out wide and hopefully picks up some kind of attacking stat. So if he can get 50 or thereabouts, I'd much rather prefer to play him at the moment than Smithies. I think his Piakura's got a lot more upside than what Smithies does.
Well, Smithy's is on a bye this week anyway, so you can play him if you want.
Well, it might be a VC loop. We'll wait and see.
Well, the only other thing I'll say with obviously with Ezra Mam too, Timmy, with an inexperienced half, I'd say I'm expecting Mam to do a Hines and play both sides of the ground as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to help Piakura or not, but when they get Madden back, I think that'll make a massive difference to the team.
Yeah, I agree. And they'd been clicking. They've been playing really well while he was there. So.
Yeah. All right, next game is at Tamworth, the first of the Super Saturday games, Tigers versus the Knights. For the Tigers,
Hold on, quick,
yes.
just go back to the previous game. I've just because I've got the team list right in front of me. So Joey Lustick is obviously named in the 9, but no Brendan Hands this
I
week.
did say
So
that.
is that going to?
I did say that.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it.
You
So
did.
is that
You
gonna?
must have, yeah.
Is that going to? I sold Lustick last week to go to JMK. Yeah, hopefully.
Is it going to
I'm
matter?
assuming somebody's going to expel.
Is it going to matter? My answer to that question is no, because he's been on the bench before and still played 80 minutes last week, and Hands has played like that extra ball running forward. So I'm not really too concerned. But Lussick has to go out of my team. I just don't know if it's going to be this week or not because I really want to get onto JMK as well. I'm actually glad I didn't do what I was going to do last week. I nearly brought in Jalen Brayley. Thank goodness I didn't do that because I think he only pumped out a 20 or a 30 or something last week. So yeah. Anyway,
They still got a long way to go.
Tigers and the Knights. So Aiden Caesar's out for 4 weeks, suspended for a hip drop. So he obviously had carryover points, so therefore it went to 4 weeks. So Jaden Sullivan starts in the halves. Jake Simpson goes on to the bench, replacing Fainu. That's Leitu Fainu. And then Starfatoa returns for his first game since round 2. Naden goes to the wing. And Solomon Atamolo drops out for the Knights. Double boost for them. Safidi's back. Tyson Frizzell's back. Dylan Lucas moves back to the bench. Jack Hathington and G. Cartwright drop out. Geez, I tell you what, I know that Tyson Frizzell is a good player, and I think he might be one of the captains of that team. But Lucas has been killing on that edge. I feel like he's very unlucky to miss out, but at the same time, you probably can't drop KPP in the form he's in either.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I know I mentioned him on our podcast last week as a interesting centre wing, second row forward. Like if you've got rid of Burbo, then maybe Lucas might have been handy there, just to be able to move things around, and he's still scoring pretty well. So whether or not it was worth bringing a base player into your centre wing, and then have some ceiling guys in there. But yeah, Brad and I discussed it on Sunday night, and I think we're at a little bit of a stalemate. So, but now it's fixed the problem because he's not named in the 13 anyway.
Just quietly, I've been very happy with Lucas because when Frizzell was ruled out a few weeks ago, I saw Lucas sitting on there as a free agent in some of the drafts and quickly snapped him up. As I did with Connor Watson as well, who put me out 130 last week in my draft too. So happy days. Pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's a good pickup.
Timmy, are you bringing in Armstrong this week?
Yeah, not sold on it myself. Not yet.
I don't, just for those who are looking to potentially bring him in, obviously it's a highly traded in, most traded in. I don't think it's a trade that you have to make this week. After he's put out that 20 odd last week, if you don't bring him in this week, it's not going to hurt you too much. Like, he's still going to have a negative break even no matter what he scores, I'm pretty sure. And I don't think I just don't think it's one of those trades that you have to do this week. I did it last week purely because I wanted the cash. That's the only reason why I did it. I went early, and obviously not only did I go early, but I played him for 25, so it wasn't exactly the best result for me. But I just think, Timmy, that you can wait unless you need the cash.
Is he centre wing dual?
Yeah, he's
also?
centre wing
fullback.
Fullback dual. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I myself, I'd prefer someone like Fialongo at the moment. If we haven't got that far yet, but if he's named and if he's going to play fullback, he's probably my preferred choice if Pappy's out. But yeah, look, it's yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think long and hard about it.
Yeah, I think at this time of I think this stage, I mean, you shouldn't be downgrading your centre wings. You should be looking to upgrade them, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
unless you've got some sort of jewels and some enough there that you want to get rid of, that's fine. All right, Timmy. Anyone else before we move on to the next game?
No, I think that's about it, mate. I don't see a lot of relevance in those two sides, unfortunately.
Yeah. Next game, Saturday is the 5:30 game at Cogra. It's the Dragons versus the Rabbitohs. Oh boy, Timmy. Just quickly, Rabbitohs are $2.30 to win this game. I don't know how the hell they're not $23 to win this game because they poor buggers have been absolutely decimated with injuries. I was reading today that out of their top 30 squad, they're down to 17 players.
Yeah. That's exactly right. They're just about ready to give some of the ball boys a chance to run out. So yeah, it's got to be tough for them, and obviously the side changes every week, and that's not going to help you when you're struggling. But yeah, I guess that's football. They've obviously got the coaching change, and hopefully Hornby can get something out of that side.
Yeah. All right, for the Dragons, Most Sully's back from his concussion. Christian Tupelotu drops out. So Zach Lomax goes from centre back to the wing. And Lisana Leilula has been named on the bench. For the Rabbitohs, Trell's back from fullback, which obviously is a big boost for them, I guess, in a way. Jai Gray's out 6 to 8 weeks. Dean Hawkins out 6 to 8 weeks. Cameron Murray out 6 to 8 weeks. Dion Tiapua will make his debut at halfback. Old mate Shibasaki's got the call up from the Townsville Blackhawks to get a start in the centres. Um, Matthew French will play his first game off the bench. Jacob Host is out through suspension. Tallis Duncan's named on the bench. I still can't believe this bloke cannot get a start in a side that's got decimated with injuries when you've got a bloke like Sylvia Havili starting at lock.
No, absolutely,
I'm
mate.
just
We all
baffled, mate. I'm really baffled by this.
by all accounts, Tallis Duncan's yeah, the next big thing that's coming through there. So I don't know. I can't get my head around it, especially if they're missing Cam Murray. Then he's supposed to be the one that was the heir apparent, just ready to slot into that spot. So who knows what the coaches are seeing? Maybe they see something that we don't.
And obviously, it's a probably the worst front row starting two that I've seen in the comp all year. You've got David Mawali and Sean Kepi starting in the front row. Oh boy,
Yeah, that's
I don't understand.
it's
Tom Burgess isn't a gun player, but from what I've seen of him this year, he's been really good for them. I just don't understand this.
yeah. I don't get it, mate. It's there's some interesting decisions coming out of Souths, but I guess they're starting to run out of troops, and they've got to I don't know come up with some crazy game plan.
I'm just gonna throw out a bit of a pod play here for those who are looking for a centre wing, and it's very left field, Timmy. It's Michaela Ravalava, 533k, up against a depleted South side. So he's going to be coming up against Isaac Thompson on the wing. What's your thoughts on this? Do you, like, job security may be a problem, like Tupelotu's hanging around, but maybe if you can pick him up in a draft, I like it. But I don't know. What's your thoughts in Classic? You think it's too risky?
Yeah, look, he's that typical guy that'll go 100 one week and could go 5 the next week. He's really good at catching a cold out there on the wing. Yeah, look, I don't know. It's definitely not for me.
Mm,
If you're trying to chase points, you could play him on matchup, but the hard part is with a team like the Dragons. When do you play him?
mm,
It's you you wouldn't be confident playing him against any of the other top 8 teams. I don't know. It's not for me, but I see where you're coming from.
yeah. All right. Last of the Saturday games is the Storm versus the Sharks. So for the Storm, Pappy's obviously out 6 to 8 weeks. Logo has been named at fullback despite coming off injured during the game. So Nick Meaney is in the centres and Grant Anderson on the wing. Jerome Hughes is out as well. Tyrone Wishart into the halves. and that brings Bronson Garlick onto the bench and Alec McDonald for the Sharks. One change. Royce Hunt replaces Toby Rudolph on the bench. I know you guys spoke about this on the pod on Sunday night, Timmy. The more and more I see the lineup of this, the more and more I kind of thinking that maybe I will hang on to Mulatalo and just try and find another way to bring Osako in up against Grant Anderson. He just needs to get some ball. That's all he needs to do. And I just think that he could score well this game.
Is he going to be up against Anderson or he'll be up against Warbrick?
He'd be up against
Normally
Anderson.
5-on-2, 2-on-5.
Oh, okay.
They're both named at 5. So,
yeah.
I'm not really sure, mate. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really torn on this one, and I've talked about it in our chat group as well. Mulatalo certainly has the ceiling. Don't get me wrong, he's averaging really well, but I don't know. There's just something not right there because he's just not getting the ball. I held him last week thinking he was their only option. Nico would just keep going from right to left, and the ball would just keep ending up in Mulatalo's hands. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out that way. It did cost me some head-to-heads in the end, and obviously he's pretty high in price. So there's a world where you could downgrade and bank a bit of cash and move someone else sideways. So do one upgrade, one downgrade, and come up trumps.
He has got a break even of over 100, I'm pretty sure too. So, it's nearly a straight swap to Osako as well with the 3 buys, the goal kicking. Probably a bit more upside at the moment. Yeah, I'm with you, Timmy, mate. I had lost 4 of my head-to-heads by less than 20 points last week.
Yeah.
And all I need was Mulatalo to bang out a 50 or a 60, and he got a 40. So,
yeah,
that hurt. It really hurt. It did. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So obviously with Fale got fullback, one to keep an eye on. I don't know if I could bring him in yet. I just want to see how he goes first. Think you'd have to wait
Yeah,
a week first.
Be interesting to hear some of the comments during the week as to whether or not that's where he's going to stay there, or whether or not they move Meaney into the back. Into fullback. I'm really keen on Nick Meaney, and I talked about it on the pod the other night. It's I think he's early 600s, I think from memory. And yeah, he's one that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. Goal kicking, scores a lot of points. Yeah, I really like it,
I would
especially if you
prefer
can.
him at fullback. If he's at fullback, I would have been all over him this week if he was named there.
Yeah.
But Munster, plenty jumped on him last week. He had a pretty average score. Harry Grant's just doing Harry Grant things. Iro's just killing it with banging out 50s and 60s without no attacking stats whatsoever. I don't think there's anyone else to discuss in this game, is there really? I mean, there was a
The
lot of
only other one
options.
is
Yep.
I've seen a lot of teams over the last 24 hours looking at Tom Hazelton, which I was quite surprised at. Obviously, he's not going to play Origin, so whether or not they want to get in a higher ceiling front row and bring him in, yeah, look, I'm not really sure on that one. I can see a world where it's relevant, but I don't know. Is he gonna keep knocking those big scores out? Is he gonna keep scoring tries?
He's not going to keep scoring tries every week. I can tell you that right now.
You'd like to think not as a front rower. I mean, mind you, AFB does it every other week, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, their draw is about to become really tough now. So I don't think I could be trading anyone in. Obviously, all their bucks were irrelevant at one stage, but probably not anymore. Yeah. So
And that's my other concern with Ronaldo Mulatalo is that the draw is going to get harder, and he's played some easy teams and not scored well. So don't get me wrong. Obviously, when you're out on the wing, you can score tries in any game. The ball's just got to get there, and at the moment, the ball's not getting to him.
yeah. All right, first of the Sunday game, Roosters versus the Warriors. For the Roosters, Tupu's back. So Pogga drops out. Hargraves is also back too. Linu's back from suspension. Victor Radley's back from injury. So Paga drops out. Tupanul drops out. Egan Butch drops out. And Sua Wong drops out. Connor Watson goes back to the bench. So Spencer Linu's on the bench, which I don't like this, Timmy. There's three middle forwards on that bench for the Roosters. because you got White,
I,
Lenu, and May that are all front, that are all middles.
yeah, it doesn't spell good for Terrell May
No,
as far as minutes go, and
no.
it's but at the same time, you're obviously not going to sell him after the way that he performed last week. He's going to have a low BE, and yeah, you want to try and get that cash first before you move him on. But yeah, it doesn't look good for minutes for him. So yeah, look, I'm not really sure.
I think you just have to not play him if you can avoid it. Just don't play him. That's my
Yeah, I agree.
suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for the Warriors, Cope Capewell's out. Mitch Barnett moves to the back row. Bunny Fowl comes into the starting side at front row. Joe Stavunga returns from a hamstring injury on the bench. Freddie Lussick's back on the bench after serving his suspension. What are you doing with your Warriors players, Timmy? I don't own any. What are you doing if you've got SJ and also DWZ? Are you selling here?
Not yet. I've got RTS and I've got SJ. Yeah, I was a little bit torn on what to do with both of those. If I don't think it's worth going SJ to Cleary, um, maybe SJ to Sam Walker. Yeah, look, but then the problem is you're going to bring in another round 14 guy, so I'm not really sure. It's obviously team dependent. I'd be selling RTS before I sell SJ. As I just think that RTS, as good as he's looked in real life, hasn't been scoring well with Supercoach. I'm obviously much rather prefer him at fullback. And as for SJ, yeah, like I don't know who you're going to trade him to.
Hmm. Dom Young, I know you guys spoke about him on the pod on Sundays. Dropped under 550k now as well. Probably is
He's
probably definitely an option, Timmy. To be honest with you, you want to talk about players with upside. This bloke's got it. I know you and I'm pretty sure that I heard you and Guy said that you couldn't go there again, but geez, that
yeah,
price
he
is
bit us
juicy.
pretty hard, mate. He bit us pretty hard.
Geez, that price is juicy, mate. It really is.
Oh, absolutely. And there's lots of people that are doing it. He will absolutely be one of the highest traded in players this week, I can
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah. Anyone else you want to talk about from this game at all? Or we
No,
pretty
look,
much covered.
it is really hard because Warriors players are generally guys that you want through the buys, through the Origin buys and the Origin period, because the Kiwis are obviously not going to play Origin.
Mm.
So yeah, you're safe in that they're a play each week. But just the Warriors are not looking. They started looking really good for a while there, and now they're looking really average again.
I don't think they've
Obviously,
won for
there's
the
a lot of
last five
people.
weeks, have they? They've been a win for like 5 weeks or something, isn't it? Pretty
Yeah, but
sure.
they're just the super coach scores are just too sporadic.
Mm.
A lot of people were selling DWZ.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, look, I don't know. And like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with RTS just yet.
yeah. All right, last game is Titans versus the Cowboys, another derby. Tanner Boyd's out with a wrist injury. Chris Randall starting in the halves. Sam Verrills will start at dummy half. And Keno Kenny comes onto the bench. Drop with Joe Simpson dropping out for the Cowboys. Chad Townsend's back. Jake Clifford drops out, and that is about it for this game. Um, Anyone you like here? I mean, obviously we have to speak about Drinky. I mean, I feel with the draw that they've got moving forward that he is by far the best option this week to replace Pappy.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually really like both fullbacks. AJ Brimson, you can play in the centres, and Drinky. Yeah, so they're two guys that I'm actually trying to crunch the numbers on at the moment to see how they're going. They may be some trading options.
Well, if it really helps you now, I think Brimson's out of reach now, nearly 700k. Yes, he's dual, but I just don't think you can pay that much for a bloke like him that probably just doesn't have the upside of a guy like Drinky. I mean, Drinking's actually cheaper than him. Can you believe
Yeah,
it? So
no, no, absolutely.
I just think you have to go Drinky. I really do. I just Brimson's been killing it. Don't get me wrong, and I picked him up in some drafts, and he's been fantastic. But I just don't see well with the draw that the Cowboys have got that you could pay that much and go Brimson instead.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. I just think obviously the plus of being able to have an attacking fullback like AJ in your centres is making things. It's free points really, as long as he gets the ball. So, but mind you, the Cowboys have been really disappointing over the
Mm.
last 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, they're certainly not the team that they were at the start of the season. So, look, I've had Drinky penciled in for this particular round over the last month or so, and working towards that. But yeah, I'm not necessarily sold on it completely just yet.
Couple of factors to bring into it too, Timmy. I mean, Drinky really did nothing last week and got 90 points. Um, you know, there's not as many mouths to feed there at the Titans, whereas the Cowboys, there's plenty of mouths there to feed. You can share the points between Townsend, Dearden, Holmes, Drinky, all these guys like that can share the points between them.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really happy with Ruben Cotter's ton or thereabouts on the weekend. I've had him since the start, so I was really keen on that one. Jeremiah Nano is another super coach
Oh
relevant
God,
player to keep an eye
yeah,
on. He scored
well,
really well his last 2 games, but the problem now is in another 2 weeks he'll be heading off to Origin, or 3 weeks. Sorry, he'll be heading off to Origin. So it was great when it was 480K 2 weeks ago, but now
mm,
I think that ship has probably sailed.
I think so too. I know there's been a lot of talk around that he won't get picked, but Billy's a man that'll stick to his side, and yeah, he hasn't been in great form, but you know what? I think you still have to pick him, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's down to him and Jaden Sewer, I think, for that same right hand second row spot. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
All right, let's quickly look at the trade in and trade outs for this week. Just quickly, there's absolutely nothing in the trade outs in top 10 that doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe you could hold on to RTS, but if you go onto a Garrick or a Osako, I don't hate that trade. I mean, I don't think he's a must-out trade, Timmy. I know you own him. He's still plugging out 50s and in base without really doing anything, so it's not bad. But I think unless you can go up to him, I wouldn't be downgrading him to Armstrong though.
No, I think you'd keep RTS over some of those cheapies. I guess it depends. Like we always say, it's always team dependent and depends on the makeup of your team. But there is a fair bit of cash there. Like what's he sitting at 550? So what
Mm,
you're banking 300K plus if you
mm,
go down to the cheapie. So just depends on what you're going to do with that 300K.
yeah. Trade ins: David Armstrong number one, Garrick number two, Sako number three. Dom Young number four, Drinky number five, Fayalogo number six. I think we've spoken about him. I think it's a wait and see with him. I mean, you don't want to be bringing in a guy and then he gets frigging dropped because he has a bad game and they put Meany back at fullback. 3,000 are jumping on Angus and paying
I guess,
712
hold
for
on, sorry.
him.
I guess the only plus would be, I think, is if Meany moves into fullback, then Longo probably goes to the wing anyway. So they just
Maybe,
basically swap spots.
but maybe. We don't know that for sure though, do we? You got blokes like
No,
Iomia and other guys like that hanging around too. So, you got nearly 3,100. Tim's paying the big dollars for Angus at 712K. He has still got a negative break even. Would you be still bringing in Angus in, even with the Origin around the corner? Most likely he plays. I don't know if I would be.
probably not with Origin this close.
Hmm,
I guess the plus is if he's still got a negative BE, he's going to make money. You could sell him in 2 weeks' time and hopefully bank some cash. But yeah, if he puts in one stinker, you're going to lose the cash pretty quick.
yeah. Number eight. You 3,000 people who've traded in Connor Watson, hit that reverse button because he's back to the bench. Do not do it. I would not be paying 550K for a bench player that's probably going to get bugger all minutes. Most likely just plays some hooker to relieve the cheese. Number nine, Brimson, Timmy. We've spoken about him already. Number 10, he's the teddy bear, Mr. Tedesco. I don't mind this trade, Tim. Like
He's cheap. The
the only thing is though, we don't know if he's going to play Origin. I mean, if I'm picking the team, I'm still picking him. But geez, I tell you what, Dylan Edwards has got a case, hasn't he? I mean, I'm so torn on this one, I love Teddy as a player, even after he left the Tigers. He's still one of my favourite players, but I still feel being the captain, I still think he deserves his chance.
You reckon Edwards will just be on one wing and Toto ends up
No,
on the other?
no. Edwards won't be in the team at all if he's not fullback. I don't think they pick him. I think you'll find your other wingers
Mm,
probably going to be the Lomax or Addo Carr.
yeah. Yeah, fair call.
I know that they did pick him on the wing for Australia, didn't they? Though I'm pretty sure. Was that
Yeah,
right? I'm sure they did.
he's already played one rep game, but yeah, was picked to
Yeah,
play on the wing.
I don't like it. I'm more than happy to have Turbo in the centres because he's just very versatile. I wouldn't have him obviously in the wing, but Turbo will do a job in the centres for you anyway. Bradman Best is another one I think probably deserves another crack too, even though he hasn't been in the best of form. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Blues pick. That's for sure. Don't think it's going to matter, to
Yeah,
be honest with you, Tim. Let's be honest. The amount of depth that the Maroons have got, I don't think it's going to matter.
it's a scary thought, that's for sure, mate.
Oh my god. You guys have got a plethora of options in that team that you can have. You got fullbacks galore to choose from. You got halves but galore to choose back from, back rowers. It's just scary, man. It really is. So yeah.
Be another thrilling adventure this year's State of Origin, that's for sure. Up Queensland, we're going to give you guys a pantsing again.
Now, just before we finish up, Timmy, I don't know about you, but I'm freaking excited for next week, man. Holy hell, Magic
Magic
Round
round,
is here. And
absolutely.
off the bench crew will be there, bar Guy, because he's not having his little meltdown because the Dragons aren't playing, so he refuses to go. So suck it up, Guy. Seriously. So we'll be up there, Timmy and myself. Brad will be up there too. We're gonna catch up with a whole heap of the other podcasters and that up there. We're gonna catch up with Dave up there, who was on the pod on Sunday night. We're gonna meet up with Sam Hazlett as well up there, mate. It's gonna be a fantastic time. And I just had a bit of a taste of it today when I opened up Facebook and went to my memories. And this time last year was actually Magic Round.
Wow, that's it was awesome. Like it was great too.
Oh,
A lot of the listeners don't know we've obviously been doing this together for a while, but it is interesting that we're all really good mates, but it actually never met in person before Magic Round last year. So it was really good to do the podcast and stuff in a different format. And yeah, no, it's certainly looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to catching up with you boys again and making that 1,000 kilometers difference much closer.
oh boy, I just can't wait. Like, well, so next week, next Sunday up. Not so we'll have our Sunday pod this week. Next week there won't be a Sunday pod because we'll still be up in Queensland, not coming back till Monday morning. So we'll do a combined TLT and round wrap pod next Sunday. There won't be one, as I said. We'll do our Sunday pod this week. We'll do a Tuesday TLT pod next week. And then the following week, as I said, it'll be a combined pod on the Tuesday. If anyone's up there, man, if anyone wants to catch up with us up there, any of the Queenslanders or anyone else who's going up there, flick us a message on our Facebook page. Flick me any of us a private message, and you guys want to catch up, we'll be down in the beers. Don't worry about that. So trust me, it's going to be a big 3 days, Tim.
Absolutely, mate. Looking forward to it. I will be there for the Friday at least. I'll probably try and see if I can get back in again for the Saturday or Sunday afternoon. We'll have a couple of quiet cordials at the Caxton,
Couple of
and you
cordials.
guys can. I'll turn around and drive home while you guys go off into the distance back down to Suncorp
Oh,
Stadium. So
oh, please. I mean, you don't have to drive anywhere. I'm sure you could probably just crash at your parents' place in Brisbane anyway. You don't have to worry about driving anywhere then, mate. You can get on the sherbets with us. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
we'll be working on something, that's for sure, mate.
Oh, don't worry about it. Well, Timmy, thanks for jumping on. Until Sunday night. Don't forget, Sunday night we have another guest on. We have the legendary man himself, Bergs, from the 360 pod. Obviously, they're still not going around, but looking forward to having him on. We might have to have the beeper ready just in case because he does like to swear a lot. So we might have
We'll
to
have
have
to
the beeper ready, Bergs.
change our rating just
Sorry.
for 1 week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy! Until
No,
then,
it's going to
have
be
a
great
good
catching up with Bergs again. It's obviously where we pretty much started. The bit of
Yes,
the love
that's
child
right.
from
Yep.
Supercoach 360. So yeah, no, it's always good to catch up with Bergs and have a good chat about footy and life in general. He's always got a good story. So if you've never met Bergs before, tune in on Sunday
Yeah.
night. He's going to be great value.
Yeah, especially with the Dogs going the way they are at the moment too. Especially if they roll out the Panthers this week, mate. He'll be in some fine form for the pod on Sunday, Tim.
I'm sure one way or another there will be talking points, mate. That's for sure.
All right, thanks again to our sponsors, Bluebet. Again, boys, thank you, appreciate it. Unfortunately, no luck with our multi again this week, but we're super close again as normal. So yeah. All right, till Sunday night. Take care, guys, and speak to you soon.
Stay safe. Be good.